Professor Ben Nwabueze has gone to rest. A giant star from the galaxy of African intellectuals has transcended into the great beyond. He died on Sunday, the 29th of October, after a long-term battle with prostate cancer. A family source said he died at age 94. Nwabueze was a legal luminary, a teacher, and thinker whose impact continues to reverberate across multiple African countries. He played a major role in drafting the 1979 Constitution in Nigeria. He was credited for his roles in putting together constitutions in Zambia and Kenya. He was a seasoned scholar who taught constitutional law in Nigeria, Zambia, and the UK while sitting on the senate of several prestigious universities. He's also an accomplished author. Nwabueze was an elder statesman who owned up to the misguided 1979 Constitution and its consolidation of enormous power to the federal government. He fought to correct these shortcomings until the end of his days. The father of 10 children died an accomplished man, but for one unfulfilled promise. In 2018, he pledged not to die until Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president, becomes president of the country. It is ironic that Nwabueze died just a week after Atiku lost another election appeal at the Supreme Court. Benjamin Obi Nwabueze was born in Atani, Ubaru local government area of Anambra State. He attended CMS Central School in his town for his primary education before proceeding to CMS Central School Onisha for secondary school from 1947 to 1950. Nwabueze went on to study at the London School of Economics and Political Science, University of London, before advancing to the School of Oriental and African Studies at the same institution. Shortly after, he became a senior lecturer at Holborn College of Law, London. Nwabueze returned to Nigeria and took a lecturing job at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, UNN, until 1970. A year later, Nwabueze began to impact legal knowledge outside the country's shores again. He became the dean of the law faculty of the University of Zambia. His academic journey was accompanied by a litany of books and journal publications on his experience across a continent slowly emerging from colonial influence and legal framework. In 1978, he earned a Doctor of Law, LLD, from the University of London. Nwabueze was a pioneering member of Ohaneze Ndibo, a pan-Igbo social-cultural group founded in 1976. He would later serve as the organization's Secretary General. Once the military took over power in 1966, the 1963 Constitution was sidelined as regimes usurped one another with little regard for the rule of law. However, after over 14 years of military dictatorship in Nigeria, the junta, headed by Murtala Mohammed and Olusegun Obasanjo, heeded the people's clamor for a return to democracy. The military government began the process by appointing a committee to draft a new constitution, a legal blueprint for a fresh beginning. Nwabueze was a leading member of the Constitutional Drafting Committee, CDC, which was chaired by the late Rotimi Williams. He says, quote, "I drafted the whole of Chapter 2 of the Constitution in my house," Nwabueze said in an interview with Channels Television in 2018.
I was a member of the Constitution Drafting Committee that drafted the 1979 Constitution, on which the 1999 Constitution is based. I was not only a member, but a leading member, the chairman of one of the subcommittees of the CDC, the Constitution Drafting Committee. Our principal preoccupation at the time was unity, one Nigeria. We were looking for a constitution that will give us that unity, that one Nigeria that we all longed for and aspired to. So that affected the structure of the Constitution. We transferred, just to give an instance, we transferred 50% of the matters on the concurrent list. You know, we have the exclusive and concurrent list. We transferred 50%, exactly 50% of the matters from the concurrent list to the exclusive list. And we didn't stop at that. We look at the residual matters that are residual, and residual matters are exclusive to the states, just as the exclusive list is exclusive to the federal government. We went there and we moved nearly 50% of the matters to the exclusive list. That's the root of the problem that we have today. We were looking for unity, we created this unity. The fight, the battle to control the center, where so much power has been moved, where so much resources, revenue has been moved. The intensity of the struggle to control the center is what we have today. That is the problem that we have today. Instead of unity, we created this unity. It's the operators who made the difference. The operators of the Constitution, yes. They created the problem, yes. And the clamor today for restructuring, this is all what restructuring is about. How to reduce the powers at the center. That is the question about restructuring, of which the country is clamoring, agitations here and there. And that root problem, it doesn't stop with the powers transferred to the center. It affected so many things. You mentioned the preamble. I will come to the preamble. When you look at the preamble is dictated by this desire, the quest for unity. We, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, if we want to analyze it, we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is there such an entity known as the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? It's imaginary. There's nothing like a we, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You have we, the peoples. There are over 350 peoples of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The ethnic nationalities, they are all peoples. We imitated the United States, mimicked. Now, and it goes on to say, to live in unity, yes, and harmony as one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign nation under God. Can you understand?
Yes,
yes.
Aspirations, desires,
yes.
is what we wanted.
Yes, but it's not true. Don't project your aspirations too much into the future, as if they are reality. They're not. You create a problem by saying it's an indivisible. The theory of the indivisible sovereignty has been exploded since 1787, the creation of federalism by the American Constitution. It's already divided, sovereignty. We're 36 states, and the sovereignty of the country is divided between the federal government and the 36 states. So why do you contradict yourself by saying that the sovereignty is indivisible, projecting aspirations into reality? It's not indivisible. It is already divided.
So what would you rather the preamble be?
We need a new preamble. We need a new preamble. Remove all this archaic, quaint, they're all quaint phraseology. We have to remove all this. I was asked, oh, why did you allow this? This preamble was drafted by the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, Justice Udoma. And he handed the draft over to me. The preamble, I was the man piloting the draft constitution through the Constituent Assembly. As chairman of a subcommittee, I was the member of the Constituent Assembly by the provisions of the decree that created it. So Udoma handed this over to me, and I said, well, this man, I respected him. We have to accept it and put it like that. That's how it got into the Constitution, this thing. Sounds nice, but it doesn't reflect the reality. We're not indissoluble. Today you have cries for self-determination, for secession. The Republic of Biafra has come and gone, but there's still people, group, agitating for it. This is part of what the quest for unity has led us into. This preamble with this quaint, highfalutin aspiration. Aspiration is good. We must have aspiration. If I were to draft a preamble, I will use the specimen of the South African, the preamble to the Constitution of South Africa of 1996. Yes, very nicely reflecting the reality, the history, the aspiration of the people and so on.
The Constitution was criticized for eradicating the devolution of power among the three arms of government as established by the 1960 and 1963 constitutions. The 1979 body of the law stripped some control from the regional government and gifted it to the central government. The 1979 constitution created the template of an all-powerful federal government, which subsequent amendments of the law would adopt. Nwabueze said the decision to increase the power of the federal government was informed by an attempt to achieve unity in the country. In 1976, 77, and 78, everybody was talking about unity. So we thought the best way to achieve that unity was to create a powerful center. And we thought that once you have a powerful center with so much power, you will achieve unity. That was the situation at the time. You don't blame us because you must take into account the circumstances at that time. The feeling that people had was that unity was overriding and that you could achieve it by putting so much power in the center. However, Nwabueze admitted that the devolution of power was misguided. He added that the attempt to create unity in the country transmuted into disunity. He was a member of the Constitution Drafting Committee (CDC) for Zambia in 1973 and a constitutional advisor to the government of Kenya in 1992. According to Emeka Ayoku, a former Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations, Nwabueze single-handedly drafted the Kenyan Constitution, which saw the country move from a one-party system to a multi-party democracy. It's on record that Professor Nwabueze single-handedly drafted the Kenyan Constitution, which saw the country move from one-party system to a multi-party democracy. With his book, I believe Professor Nwabueze's continuous love and commitment to make the country a better place for all. Nwabueze was appointed Minister of Education in 1993, but held the position for just 8 months. Nwabueze was one of the leading voices calling for the total sideline of the 1999 Constitution to be replaced with a new one. In 2017, Nwabueze led a coalition called the Southern Leaders of Thought and called for the total overhaul of the 1999 Constitution. According to the leaders, restructuring is not a matter that can be implemented by amendment of the 1999 Constitution, as it imperatively requires a new constitution adopted or approved by the people at a referendum. It is sad that while a clamor for restructuring is reaching a crescendo and is sweeping across the country, the National Assembly is still regaling us with talks about constitutional amendment and is buttressing its position by the erroneous assertion that the 1999 Constitution can only be amended or altered Section 8 and 9, but cannot be abolished and replaced by a new constitution, the coalition said. The view that the 1999 constitution cannot be completely abolished and replaced by a new constitution is erroneous because the National Assembly fails to take into account the fact that the 1999 constitution is only a schedule to Decree 24 of 1999. That decree is an existing law under Section 315 of the 1999 Constitution and, like all existing laws within federal competence, can be repealed by the National Assembly. Upon the repeal of the decree, the 1999 Constitution completely disappears from existence. During the lead-up to the 2019 election, Nwabueze endorsed Atiku, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). When Atiku visited him in Enugu, he embraced the former vice president and made a solemn promise: "I will not die until you become the president," Nwabueze told Atiku. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, however, defeated Atiku at the poll, but the opposition took the matter before the election tribunal. Nwabueze became the lead counsel for Atiku at age 87. He appeared before the election tribunal in a wheelchair. He was indeed an icon and a recipient of several chieftaincy titles and the Nigerian Order of Merit. Professor Nwabueze was an academic giant who, through his numerous books and articles, contributed towards the application of constitutional law and broader process of governance in Nigeria. His death on Sunday evening in his home has continued to generate reactions. The Igbo Intelligentsia, Aki Kinga, and the Cultural Credibility Development Initiative have condoled the family of Professor Ben Nwabueze, Nigeria's legal luminary and the first Secretary General of Ohaneze Ndigbo worldwide. It is also worth mentioning that Ohaneze Ndigbo has lost 3 eminent chieftains recently. They include Professor Joe Iruku, SAN, Chief George Uwechwe, SAN, and now Professor Ben Nwabueze, SAN. Their memory will last forever. Born on December 22nd, 1931 in Atani, Anambra State, Nwabueze is fondly called Professor of Professors on account of his numerous contributions to the legal profession in Nigeria and beyond. A seasoned academician, was member of the Senate of the Universities of Lagos, Dar es Salaam, Nairobi, Haile Selassie, Ethiopia, Lesotho, Botswana, and Swaziland between 1971 and 1978. He was appointed the University Assessor for Academic Appointments, Universities of Ghana, Lagos, Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, and Jos between 1978 and 1979. What a man. Jen Koma, till we meet to part no more. Thank you for watching. Endeavor to drop a comment on this video. Would love to always hear from you.